All right, just kind of reliving my youth from the most popular unheard of metal band you never heard of before was Syndicate, and this song was called I think was called what was it called? What Am I Doing? I think that's what it was called, and I can't remember the riff, but it was something. It was a very diminished sounding evil riff like this. Might have been from the E, I believe. And then from there, I forget where didn't go. I don't remember where it went to from there. Didn't have the 7-string at a time, but what would it sound like on the 7-string? So that's definitely darker, definitely heavier. Now, if I could combine the two. So I did a little bit of an inversion there of the second part of that. So I teamed up the this part with the low B, and then I teamed up the I team up the G sharp. D sharp, yeah, E flat, D sharp. So it would work because we were in E flat standard tuning for most of our songs, just to be heavier. But yeah, it's cool that extra little dynamic range and stuff you get with the 7-string. So even like going over my old songs, even if I'm doing a piss poor cover of my own songs. I did write those riffs. Any sort of George Lynchy kind of that kind of stuff. That I always knew that was my riffs. Mike's riffs are usually more kind of more in your face, really aggressive. It was really cool. So between the two styles of guitar, there is like you had the riff guy, which was me, and then you had the pounding rhythm guy, which was Mike most of the time, and then Dave did his own kind of super composures of pulling the song together and changing the keys and stuff like that. And we did do a fair amount of key changes. I think we could have done more, but again, the songs never really got to fully like we got them written and start to finish. And the first game we did, I think we cut a couple of songs short accidentally. But the riffs were there, the key changes were there. The vocals were definitely there. So the whole package of the songs were really, really creative. And then what ended up happening was, like I said, we played that gig live, and that was our first gig. So as an opening act, so we, 10-minute sound check. I'm not gonna make excuses, but we rushed it on there, and I thought we did really good for whatever. I never took mishaps on stage. Sound like the sound man forgot to turn on Stacy's mic for the first verse or whatever of the first song, and stuff. I never took that stuff personally. I was like, it's show business. Show must go on, right? But listening to the songs, listening to where they were, it would be interesting to see if the band would have stayed together long enough, what we would have turned into over time. Would we have turned into another Nightwish? I think we would have probably been something along that lines for sure. Because the bands in Ottawa at the time, there were metal bands, most of them cover bands, almost everybody's cover, but the original guys, they were going more the grunge way, or they were going to be Sepultura, Slayer. It seemed like it was either one or the other that they would go for. They were going for Pearl Jam or Slayer. It didn't seem like there was any in between. And we were kind of that in between band where we were kind of like Skid Row. We were kind of like, from my point of view, kind of like Dokken a bit, kind of like Judas Priest, kind of like Pearl Jam. We were a little bit of grunge, definitely heavy metal. Definitely there was some speed metal in there. Some pretty fast, it doesn't sound fast on the camera, but when you realize how it's played, like I did that, Delusions of Grandeur. Like that there is so fun. It's very fatiguing to play that for the 4 or 5 minutes that song goes on. And the double bass drum going along with that, it sounded so cool. It was definitely a very high octane song, and people really got they got really into it. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna play around with these old songs, see if I can redo them again, and I'll call it Syndicate Returns. Obviously, I have no idea where the vocalist ended up. And to get together with the guys, like they live on the other side of Toronto. I'm way up in West Quebec here. The closest one to me is the old guitar player in Ottawa. But who knows, maybe we could find a way to get together and re-record stuff. That'd be cool. But if not, I'm going to record it all myself and then throw it by them and say, hey, what do you think of that? See what they say about it. Maybe they'll be for it, maybe they won't. I'll do whatever. But it's just cool to revisit that. And then I'd like to do newer versions of these songs, you know what I mean? Like that would be very, very, very cool. Because with something like this, you could take it a bunch of different places, Who knows where you're going? Cool. Could be cool.